Hey maker, come behind the scenes with me while I edit this photo. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Christina Nicole, and I'm a product photography coach teaching makers like you how to take your own high quality product photos that attract more customers and make more sales for your product-based business. I will be editing this photo inside of Affinity Photo 2. Affinity Photo 2 rivals Photoshop, and the benefit of it is that it's a one-time payment versus a monthly or yearly subscription that you have with Adobe products. So my students and I have really been playing with it a lot and we're loving it. So I'm going to edit inside of Affinity Photo 2 today. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of this image because you guys will be asking some questions. I am using backdrops from replica surfaces. This backdrop is actually called Eerie View. And then the bottom backdrop, which you can't really see too much, is called Bonfire. This is a jewelry stand, and I purchased it on Etsy from Eccentric Objects. And these earrings I purchased on Etsy from a Maker Method student of mine, and her shop is Stone and Wire Studio. So the first step I always take when editing product photos is to adjust the tones, the darks, the lights, all those in between. So to do that, I'm going to go over here to adjustments. And my favorite tool to do that is the curves tool. So when we open the curves tool, you will notice that we have what is called a histogram here. And this is going to be our dark tones going all the way to our light tones. Now, if I were to grab a little dot on this side and increase like this is us increasing the light tones. And you'll notice that when we do that, it increases our darks as well. And so that's not necessarily what we want to do. The only place that we really have white, like pure white, in this photo is going to be probably here on the dress. So we're going to really pay attention and jump into the product, and maybe we're going to increase. So if we go back down to like where we were, this is where we were. So we're going to increase just a little bit. Now, keep in mind, one of the biggest components to all of this is we want to make sure we are doing our best to show the product as true to real life as possible based on colors. So we want those colors to look like they do in person. Now, typically, let's go ahead and zoom out a little here. Typically, when we are photographing these darker backdrops or darker products, maybe try decreasing your exposure some. And we're going to do that here on this left side. So we've come down to this line, and we're going to tap another dot here, and we're going to start to bring those darks down. Now it's going to keep our light tones where we have them. It's going to make some adjustments to our mids, but we're really focusing on just kind of bringing these darks down to create, because we were kind of up here, we want to really create that mysterious overall kind of look. We don't want to go too far because then we're going to have loss of detail and all of that. But we just want to kind of play with it and just make it kind of mysterious. And I really like about there. Still see the detail in the windows, but it just looks a little more moodier. The next edit we're going to focus on is color correction. So we're going to first select white balance. And I'm actually probably going to zoom in on the product kind of again, because that's where our focus really is. And I feel like it might be a little cool. See how our whites, so we want to look at our whites. We can really see if we push this way, we're getting really warm. We go this way, we're getting really cool. With that blue in the actual product, I think I want to uptick maybe like a 2%, not much. Playing with it here. Okay, I want to see what a 4 looks like when I zoom out. And then tint, we're going to be green to pink. take that over just a little bit on the green side. So let me go ahead and back this out. I'm going to go ahead over here and actually toggle off the visibility on this. And so I was focusing on the whites, but I'll be honest, you know, we're going to get a little bit of that cool color from the moon in general. So I want to try to make this kind of as realistic as possible. Toggle that back on. I'm actually going to go I think I'm just going to do 1%. And I think I like that. I like the coolness of the backdrop, just because, I mean, that's what we're going to see. So yeah, we'll make that a 1. And overall, the product itself looks true, accurate to color, all of that. So now we're going to work on kind of cleaning up the photo. And to do that, I'm going to use the clone brush tool. And keep in mind, all of these edits are pretty similar in most editing softwares. Sometimes this tool is called the heal tool. Sometimes it's called the clone stamp tool. I think in Canva, it's called the magic eraser. So there's typically a software is going to have an option for this type of tool. And what we're doing here is we're trying to just clean up the photo, make everything look real seamless. And to do that, we want to make sure anytime we go and grab some tools over here, we have to have the background selected. These adjustments here are going to create a new layer. But if we want to utilize these tools, to see it happen and see it work in the photo, we have to have the background selected. Now, if I were to click the screen, based on whatever computer you're on, it's going to prompt you for what you need to click to grab that. So basically how the clone tool works is we're going to select a portion of the image that we want to then clone onto here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull part of this here. And if you look up top, we have our settings for this tool. So this is the size of my brush. We want it to be 100% opacity because we want to clone exactly what we're seeing. We don't want it to be transparent at all. So I'm going to go ahead and make the selection there, and you'll see, and I don't like that because now it's curving. So let's go ahead and reselect about here. I don't like that it took that little piece with it. And then I'm going to grabbing the proper color is really important. You want to make sure the tones of what you're grabbing are going to match where you're cloning so that we're not getting, and that kind of works. But you don't want, like, I wouldn't want to clone from here and place that there, right? Like that's super, super visible. So when you're doing this cloning, just make sure you're grabbing similar tones, and you do see a difference here and here, but it kind of goes throughout. So we're going to back out just to make sure it doesn't really look funky. No, it looks like it's just part of a branch. So we're good to go there. And I don't think there was anything else that really needed to be cleaned up, but let's go in and just kind of move about and see. So that was the only little imperfection I saw that I wanted to kind of clean up. And next we're going to make sure that our lines are straight. So to do that, we're going to go to the crop tool. I'm going to select the straighten option up top. And we're just going to grab a line that should be straight and essentially drag it. So this is telling me that it was already straight and we're good to go. And then I do want to keep this at a 4:3 aspect ratio, but I'm actually going to change it so I don't do 3:4 because I want more height than width. And then we are going to just crop, I think, a tiny bit. I don't really want to take too much of the photo out. I like how I have it framed. I like that we can see the moon. And I tend to keep my product in kind of this area of the photo when I do my framing. It's just like, especially if it's like a heavier type of product, it's like a balance, a weight thing for me. So I like to frame my product right here. And then we're going to hit enter. So one additional tool that I would like to use is the burn tool. And the reason I want to use the burn tool is because this prop, this jewelry stand, had a little bit of a sheen to it. And even though I was flagging the light, which means I was blocking the light, there was a little bit of light still coming through, obviously to light my product and hit. And you'll notice that we have a little bit of reflections and hot spots throughout here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It gives the prop texture, detail, shows that it's reflective, kind of gives it some dimension, but at the same time, we don't want it to be so like specular, like such a hot spot that it distracts from the actual product. So I'm going to show you how to use the burn tool and just kind of darken those areas up a bit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little here. Okay, and then we're going to go over to the left-hand side. Again, make sure your background's selected. And we're going to, if you go here, you'll see the dodge. Dodge is going to lighten. Burn is going to darken. You can remember that because if you burn something, it kind of turns black. So I'm going to actually increase the size of my brush a little as well. And we're just going to rub on here. Now, if I release the mouse and do it again, it's going to get a little darker. So I think I'm just going to do it. This one was pretty specular and it's right next to the product. So I just want to darken it enough. We'll kind of do around here too. It just kind of takes the sharpness of the reflection away. So it's not so shiny, which is a lot of times, you know, kind of the issue. Bring my brush size down a little. Now we don't want to fully take it away because like I said, it's going to give us a little bit of dimension with the curvature because we're getting these reflections because this is a curved and shiny product. But we just don't want it to steal focus. Let's go ahead and zoom out and see what we think. Yeah, I think that looks great. We still have some of the detail, the texture. Maybe we could have done it just a little bit less, but I think overall it's removed the distraction of, you know, our eye going directly to that lightest spot, that reflection versus the product. And here is our final photo. Please take the time to like this video if you found it useful, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more about taking your own product photos. See you next time.